Yeah, we're back. And I'm here to paint some more miniatures. Primarily bones again, because that's kind of what I'm stuck with for a while, because of the massive number of bones I've acquired. Well, by acquired, I mean bought, like most of us. When we were allowed to update our, our purchases or pledges, we just kept adding to them, and we never stopped. So, today, I have broken out the Ghoul Charnel Pit. It has another name. I'm not quite sure what it is. I do know what it is. But I thought I'd just pull it out. And since today is All Terrain Tuesday, or some Terrain Tuesday, or some quantity of Terrain Tuesday, I figured I would start fresh and go. We'll do some of this, because, this is what we do now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick thing where I indicate that I am here with a few happy Twitch announcements. Again, I should let you know that once I get... Oh, I'm up to 80. Nice. Once I get to 100 followers, I will be giving away painted minis. Probably Reaper painted minis, but turning down that because... let's see... what to Reddit. Choose a community. Reaper. Miniatures. There we go. Okay, I'm just having to share to a few places quick. Blop. Share to Blop. Yep. So, sorry about the delay on this. This is just me trying to manage social media, which is, which I'm really, really good at. I promise, for real. No, really. Oop. And finally, for real. No, really. Let's see what we got here. One more place. Oh, my Facebook. Why do you post it there? You're just attracting the same people. The people you always get to watch. Yeah, but maybe, who knows. So, what I got here is, this is the Charnel Pit of the Ghoul Queen, or whatever you want to call it. It's a great mini. I'm misnaming it. What we have are traditional ghouls. These are not like, D&D ghouls are very peculiar and particular. I don't know what the origin of the mythology is for D&D ghouls, but generally, well, we can actually do this. Ghouls are kind of weird. You see them a lot in Mythos, in H.P. Lovecraft stuff. But they have I believe it's from Gull, which I believe is originally Indian, Hindi, I should say. Oh, Arabic, I'm wrong. It's from the Arabic Gull. It's a demon-like monstrous humanoid originating in pre-Islamic Arabian religion associated with graveyards and consuming human flesh. So it's not clear exactly. For some reason, D&D decided to make them more dog-like, or give them canid aspects, especially with the face and jaw. It distends a bit. It gets kind of like very bitey. Sorry if you're... Yes, you have to look at my posterior while I move the monitor around. Blarg. Ota! So, let's see here. So, I mean, you're talking proto, Middle Eastern sorts of religions and whatnot. It is a fun miniature. It is a great miniature. The set is amazing. You have female ghouls, and these probably fit closer to that that model. They all have masks on that look vaguely demonic. They themselves are demonic. These are masks. These are not their faces, you can tell, because each of them has a cord running the back of their hair. And that is their hair. The horns may or may not be part of the mask, because they seem to protrude out from the hair. It's possible that that is costume. I'm not going to interpret it as such, since this is the Queen Ghoul. I'm probably going to just go with the flow on the horns on that one. We got the victim here. This traveler that is who's all ragged and tied up. We've got another ghoul here. This one with their weapons. I love their weapons. It's a bone with a sword. Nice. Good detail. And their hair just nicely and strategically keeps it sort of PG-13 rated. I like this. Look at this. Look at this thing. This is like a temple of sorts, or a shrine to some goat demon. It's been tacked up on the stone. You can see like a pin there holding it in place. Well, let's see if I can get this. And then this. And I actually glued the charnel pit in place first, which is a little bit unfortunate, because I did not realize that the big squiggly monster thing coming out of the well, which also could count, by the way, as terrain, could have also fit there. So I could have gotten double work out of this. I could have swapped the two of them out. My mistake. I have another one of these pits that I will not be gluing the thing in place as tightly. Well, I'll be gluing the tentacles in place. I won't be gluing the pit in place. And I will actually buy another one of these charnel pits so I can switch it out back and forth. But yeah, so yeah, ghouls. We are working also on my Lasher demon, but I'm gonna put that aside for now because I'm still. I need to get some more glue. I'm out of glue, so I can't glue it back down. So without further ado, we're gonna start working on these. We're gonna start on the terrain first. I know you guys probably want me to do the ghouls first. I want to do the terrain first since today is All Terrain Tuesday. I'm not. It isn't. It's. I think I called it some Terrain Tuesday in the notes, but you know. So now the thing of terrain is I don't have nearly the amount of MSP paint I would like to have to be able to do all the terrain. Because look at this massive thing. I could go through a whole bottle of this stuff. And this is probably what I'd start with, is a troll hide. But since I can't do that because of the limits, I will be recruiting some other kinds of paint. In this case, probably craft paint. And I'll start out using a ceram coat, and then I'll switch to Reaper stuff for the highlighting and for the good-looking stuff. The bones, I'll probably. I mean, what's the inner detail? We're gonna do the. Well, let's start with one of the smaller pieces, just to make it easy on ourselves. We'll start with the altar. Nice bone altar. Got a nice little sacrificial knife and some bone and some skeleton stuff. This should be a lot of fun. And I thought I heard my nephew. He may come down and join us. I can't say with certainty. I do have to check something though. I thought might have gotten a hit on some one of my painting allies, as it were. Where are you? Yep. Well, we'll come back to that. So, right now I'm just going to do a base coat of a black. Brown is not a bad base coat, and we'll be using brown on the ground. But the base coat for the main thing is going to be black. The rocks could go either way. I also got a hold of some black 3.0. I won't be using it on this miniature, but fun stuff. I'll be using that on a different day where I'm not necessarily doing what I'm doing today, which is black 3.0 is a paint that's like Vanta black. I might just save it for special occasions because it's like really dark black. It's crazy stuff. Like there was this artist a couple years ago that said, I've created the most darkest black possible. It doesn't reflect any light. I imagine him being German. I don't think he is, but for some reason I visualize him as being German. And apparently he was a snob about it and said nobody else could use it. And then, like, immediately afterwards, some kind of, I don't know, anarcho kind of artist said, you know what? I have Black 2.0, and everybody can use it. And I'm not copywriting it or it's not patented. Here's the formula. Go and make more. And then another company decided, well, we're also going to make the black, and they made Black 3.0, which is even darker still, and it's fairly cheap. I like that concept that someone would go to the trouble of making. It's like a real artist thing to do. It's just like this weird anarcho artist thing to do. We're like, I'm gonna, yeah, well, you made. It's like that old story about like the photorealists, like these two photorealists had a competition about. This is not a real. This may not have happened, by the way. It's like a story. Stories don't always happen. And sometimes they don't happen the way people tell them anyway. But these two photorealists were having like some kind of paint-off. Or for some reason, artists get really, weird about that. They get kind of competitive. And these two were having like a hard competition. They were like, yeah, photorealism being, the school of canvas where people would, scarecrow. Paint that next. That's such a cool scarecrow. Look at this guy. I love scarecrows. Check this guy out. Scarecrow. I may pop on and off today because I might have a friend joining it at okay, I'm gonna have to like razor that bit off, but so I can't do him yet right now. I have to fix that mini. So as I was saying, favorite story about photorealist painters. They had a competition, sort of, and they were like constantly at each other's throat about it. And one of them goes, "Well, I can make a. Should I use this? I could use it. I have Reaper brown. I can use. I've got some MSP brown I can do for the base on this thing. That's not nearly as much paint. I don't feel like I'm using quite as much, so I have no problem using a proper brown from MSP paint for the base around it." Anyway, like one of them is doing like, and you've probably seen the picture. So this may not just be apocryphal in terms of its reality. It may also be a lie. But there's photorealists would paint things like cheeseburgers and whatnot, and they'd use paint and acrylics or oils to make paintings that looked like they were photographs, and that was the whole challenge. That was what they did. And you're like, this looks muddy as hell. What are you doing? Don't worry, buddy. It'll be fine. Going with browns is fine. Base of it, we're going to redo the individual rocks differently. Maybe. I might redo the individual rocks black, just because. But I kind of want to make okay, so I'm getting some of it off. Okay, so let's see if I can. I'm going to zoom in a bit because we're get close to the subject matter, closer to the heart of this. One of them would paint like a malt shop scene or a burger or some kind of like image of this whole thing, and then the other they'd go back and forth. And one of them apparently did this perfect looking cheeseburger with a perfect glass of Coke. Because that painting is famous and people would recognize it if they saw it, it's probably didn't happen this way. But it's the story anyway, deal with it, if you like. The competitors saw it, and one night, when the guy was almost done with it, or right after the guy had finished it, his magnum opus, which was a cheeseburger and Coke, his competitors snuck in. He slipped in the dead of the night. And he painted a fly on the cheeseburger. He painted a perfect fly on the cheeseburger. So he goes in there. He goes to see it the next day when he's unveiling it, and the guy that painted the cheeseburger said, "See, I've won. I am the better painter. I am the master of this." He didn't say that. I don't know what he said. Nobody knows what he said. Nobody was there. This didn't happen. Anyway, the other photorealist, the one that painted the fly, said, look, he points at the fly and goes, and then the painter that painted the cheeseburger tries to brush the fly away, and then his competitor says, "No, I've won," because which is kind of messed up because you've modified the guy's painting without his knowledge or without his concern. It's a fun story. It's apocryphal and it's entirely bullshit. But a fun story is a fun story, even if I can't tell it very well. And I think I've told that one like a dozen times on this channel, so feel free to ignore that shit. Meanwhile, let's see where I have to find. I have a friend that might be popping on. I just want to make sure that I'm tracking everything properly. Reddit, not Reddit. Where are you? Where's the program I need? I suck at this. Discord, that's what I'm looking for. It might be tricky. Okay. Sorry. There we go. So let's see. We've base coated it in brown, not very thoroughly though. So now that I've got a little bit of it down, I'm going to put a bit more on the edges. The nice thing about a base coat is you can be really crude and rough with it. You don't have to go crazy. Crazy's for later. You can go crazy later. That's the part where you just have to start getting wild and weird with it. Alright, let's see what else I have here that might work. Blues. I've got some dark blues. See, with this stuff, I'm really trying hard to stick with MSP paint since that's probably what you guys are going to be using, though I have no idea. I don't always use MSP paints, but for the purposes of the channel and in gratitude for such amazing miniatures I have purchased from them, I decided to maybe try to be a bit closer to what our friends in Texas would have me do. Besides, they were nice enough to raid my station a while ago, so credit and friendly vibes and stuff, So let's see. We're gonna, and this is like a really fun mini. I think these sets like this are very flexible, and yes, you buy a lot of these sets as sets. I don't know if in the future whether they resell these sets as a complete set or whether they break them and say, hey, you got to buy the thing separately. I guess it depends upon which set it is. But these sets are always cool because you can, like a couple years ago, they had Dragons Don't Share. Those pieces have been so useful in running games where I've had miniatures. I got them painted long before I got the dragon miniature painted. The dragon I am still working on the dragon to that. I feel really bad, but I am still working on the Dragons Don't Share dragon, which, what do you do? We've got it black, mostly. It's going to pop in a bit more because there's some areas that did not get filled in as much. I could go back and do all of the other... Oops, I got some off. No, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Any area that I smudge is fine because differentiation in texture and color of the terrain. Honestly, old school me, when I was painting like years ago, I'd paint everything black. And I would primer the crap out of these metal minis, paint, and then put a black coat over them, and then I would go back and go, okay, now it's time to just dry brush all the way up. And that is how I would paint. As you can see, the last things I'm going to do is probably the details on this, like the skeleton and the bones. I did put some brown on the bones to differentiate it a little bit. I'm not going to go too crazy with it, though, if it gets a bit smudged, because those are the last things we're going to do. We put videos up your past shows. My brother picked up the Bones 5 set, and it would be great for him to see this. I could. I have, they're not all Bones 5, not all my videos are Bones 5, but I should put some up on YouTube. I do have a YouTube channel that is largely ignored because I've never used it for much, and I have a YouTube Red. But yeah, I'll do that. That'll be my next big project, honestly. That way I can reference it. I think I can also pull up old videos from this channel. But to be honest, I've only painted a few from the most recent from Bones 5. I did not do an unboxing. Huh. Oh, yeah. Oh, gotcha. You know, the tips are the same, really. Even though they've changed the material slightly between Bones 4 and 5, a lot of the things you do are going to be very similar because a good solid base coat is always helpful. Since we don't believe in doing primering anymore, although you can, I will not do it. If you're looking for someone to show you how to primer, wait until I get some resin minis that are non-Bones, and I will primer those, and the process will be very similar. Bones they don't respond as well to primering. Spray-on primer. Their metal stuff you need to primer the crap out of it, but their plastic stuff, brush-on primer works just fine. I can demonstrate the brush-on primer thing one of these days. But why bother? It's an extra step. I mean, it's not even necessary. If you're really, really sad about not being able to primer, just get some Liquitex. Maybe add a couple drops of water to some black, Mars Black, and you can use Liquitex to primer. Or I believe, I think MSP even makes their own brush-on primer, though they don't necessarily recommend it for the miniatures. People do it. It's your thing. So I'm gonna just smudge some of the ground with a bit of green, just a bit randomly for now. We'll come back to it. The green's just kind of I might go desert, because ghouls are creatures of the desert. So we may I may end up making the base around it desert. It'll add contrast to this happy little thing and make it look even better. As far as the stone itself, now, I mean, there is a temptation, of course, to try to make it look like some kind of alien sort of base dark thing that's just awful to look at. I think we're going to avoid that. Well, let's screw around with this a bit. I'm gonna add a little bit. I'm gonna add a tinge of silver to some of the black. This is a pewter. This is an MSP pewter. You can't read it, but trust me, it's pewter. Huh. Yeah, I can put up some videos on YouTube. I think I even have a few back here. Oh, I don't have them all labeled as Bones 5. I didn't start getting crazy about labeling everything Bones 5 until, I don't know. They came in and people were really psyched to see some painted, so I thought, well, I should label them. That way people know what they're looking at. Otherwise, it's just me ranting randomly. So I grabbed a black and I added some silver to it. I'm gonna give this altar a bit of a shine with it. The pewter, I blackened it up, so we're gonna shine this thing up. I might go back and put some stains on it. I'm not sure if I want to keep this really dark black. If I want to add a touch of gray as I go. I mean, a black stone altar does feel really sinister, doesn't it? I mean, it'd be like the lazy way to do it. But even if I did it like that, I still would have to go back in and I would still have to go back in and highlight it a bit. Hey, Lauren, why don't we get interesting with this? Okay, so we're going black and all that. Let's grab some brown. I am going to actually go back and paint this stuff a yellow. But first, I'm going to grab some of this brown. I have some of this brown left over. Let's grab some red. I have an idea. The cracks in this thing. Ordinarily, with cracks like this, I would probably do a wash to fill the cracks to give them the effect I want. But I just thought maybe we can do something interesting. Scary black altar. I know, right? Keeping it. I mean, it would make this job way too easy. I do have to do some highlighting, otherwise I feel like I'm cheating. So yeah. But I'm mixing some red and brown because there we go. Look at that. I might even smudge the surface of it with this stuff too. But I'm going to take a bit of this. It should be darker than this, but I'm going to find the cracks that I think are most significant. And I'm going to just put a little bit of this in. This is the idea of this. I'm giving it the idea that there might have been some blood spilled on the altar. Just a bit. We'll brown it up later. I'll add some more brown to it, because really blood, after it dries out, after it oxidizes, it starts to turn brown. I was kind of hoping to get a bit of this effect in. And you know, the thing is, if you screw up something like this, if it's a detail like this, it's like a bit off, and you don't like the way it looks, you can always just paint over it. And actually, this one is an easy one to paint over, because you just do a wash. You just mix your paint with some water. After the thing's thoroughly dry, don't do washes before your thing is dry, otherwise it'll look weird. Although, you know, painting wet on wet does produce some interesting effects, but you have to know kind of what you're looking for, or you have to be willing to totally experiment, which is the best way to learn how to paint anyway. Learning new techniques is just a matter of watching a YouTube video and fooling around. There are some people on that are really good at teaching basic techniques. I'm more of just to hang out and bullshit with. And I also take advice. I love advice. I love people telling me, hey, can you make it green? I'm going to actually put a color wheel up on this thing, so that if people don't give me any idea of how to paint something, if I ask, hey, what should I paint it, and nobody answers, I'll just like hit a button. It'll be a random color. It'll be great. All right, so yeah, let's see. So we've got the red. We've got a bit of a red in there, a little ochre kind of red, and I'm gonna add a little bit of white to this black and silver mess I've made, just a drop, which will probably be way too much, because this stuff is mostly dried on anyway. Yeah, right, there we go. So now we got a bit of gray. All right, good. Now, our goal now is to just trace across the top of it. If I find out that there are any areas that really need to be touched a bit more, okay, so I'm just going to, and I do see some spots that it could use a bit more. As a matter of fact, damn it, I have to do this. When I see a flaw, I have to act on it, even if it's, because I thought I popped in all the dark paint I needed. So we're going to have to go back in. If you look around here, just look. Ba-doom, 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 ba-doom. I'm making all the sound effects my nephew would make right now. Pew, 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 pew. I don't think he says pew. I think he makes better sounding effects. He can do his own. Okay, there we go. There we go. It'll also add some contrast right around the points where, especially underneath, because underneath it should be even darker still because it's not visible. There's no light on it. I will add some more, I might add some stains. I've shined up the top a little bit, just to get it to look like it has been. There we go. All right. I think I've got most of the, so one of the things you can do if you have like details that are like internal and it's hard to get to, find an old brush you care a little about. This one is like 25 years old. It served me well, but now I'm using it for its final sacrifices, which will be popping in paint. This whole technique involved about this, where you get most of the paint off of it and you just kind of hammer it in just with the tip of the brush. Put a little paint on the tip of the brush, just hammer it into the little parts, like right at the base. It's little spots you can barely see, but there are areas that are not filled in. And again, by the way, if you get me to 100 followers or affiliate, which both of them actually, at both points I will be giving away free miniatures. It's a really good deal. 100 of you will get, well, not 100. There'll be 100 people that have to say follow me, and then like I'll probably give, I don't know, 10 of them free miniatures randomly selected off my list of followers, unless they're people I know, like my sister or something. My sister's on here somewhere. She doesn't get a free miniature. she wants a free miniature, she can just show up and ask. No, sorry, she gets an advantage. She's willing to put up with my nonsense. That's worth like a dozen free miniatures. And her kid comes over once in a while to paint, which is nice. I like having my nephews around to paint, and my nieces too. My nieces are more skilled. Of course, they're older. Yeah. So yeah, I'll message people from this thing once I get 100 and just. You give me your address. You don't want to give me your address. Okay, give me a P.O. box. Okay, you don't want to do that. Okay, well, something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll do a blind drop box. Oh yeah, he's great. He is such a nice kid. He is so cool. He's such a good kid. But I mean, he's still a kid, so he can get a little cranky sometimes and get distracted easily. I mean, but he's a good kid. His parents are good people. They also put up with me, so that speaks well of them. So let's. I don't know. Oh, this is fun. So if you haven't done this before, this is something you have to do with MSP paints occasionally. They sell tools specifically for this on their website for popping in, because what happens is sometimes the paint will settle in and it'll fill up and it'll be hard to work. But that's not the real cause of this. This is caused by an air bubble. When it gets stuck, sometimes you get an air bubble. The air bubble will make it so it'll form a bubble around the tip, right? And what will happen is the oil or the medium that the what do you call it? Pigment. The oil that they use with their pigment, not oil, it's kind of oil, but it's kind of not, because it's sort of, you can mix the stuff with water, so it can't be completely oil, but the stuff that they use as a medium with the pigment will form a bubble, and all that will happen is that the medium will travel around the bubble because it's thin, and it's the same material, and there's sort of a weird hydrophobic thing going on or something. It's weird. I don't understand it completely, and I still didn't do it right, because all it did was spit out more oil. Oh, God, I suck at this part. Alright, so, alright. Some people, they do things like they just take the tips off of these. That's fair. I'm going to do that right now, because I'm going to do this all day. There we go. I'm just going to grab some out of here and put it down there. And then I'm going to mix a little bit of yellow with it. Just a drop for now. Yeah. I like how he used to be, when he was a lot younger, he was really good at base coating stuff for me, so that I would use weird and crazy and inventive colors. And he's less interested in that now. He has his own sense of aesthetic and self. He's gotten to the stage of development where he is very fixated on things being the way he did them. So I'm careful about giving him too many minis now. It's like, you gotta go back and finish the ones you have, or I'll trade you 2 for 1. And then I will take one of his and improve it a bit, or get to use it. So this is just a yellow and brown. I'm putting it on there. I don't know if this is going to work. Right now what I'm doing is kind of a highlight coat. It's a little too light. The green on there I think is kind of strange. I was going to make this deserty. I'm less convinced of that the more I put on. The thing is, this could be like an oasis or something. I might just keep going yellow on it until I get what I want out of this. So let's get some more of this brown. So the thing about dry brushing is you wipe off almost all the paint, and then you just kind of highlight it. Nice, huh? I'll go back and do the stones. That's a skull, I think. I'm going to make that one a cracked skull. Because this is there's been some deaths that have occurred here. I don't like ghouls in D&D for a lot of reasons. The morphology doesn't make any sense to me. How they look like. I mean, why are they looking different than corpses? They're undead. Why do they look like that? Okay, easy answer. Why do vampires look the way they do? I'm like, well, they have a mythology. So that makes sense. So in my mind, ghouls are sort of more like deadites or something, some kind of demonically possessed thing. If I were to change something in D&D, if I were to change things in 5e, two things I would change. One, gnolls. Gnolls would go back to being whatever gnolls were, like weird hyena people that aren't just completely ridiculous. Because like ghouls as they are now are just, they're kind of ridiculous. I don't understand. I get why they did what they did, because they are running out of their monsters are quickly becoming. There's a lot of monsters that are quickly becoming used as player character races, and that was inevitable. That was something we probably should have seen decades ago. That there'd be a time when there will be a time when it will when our orcs and goblins will be player character races, and it will not be cool to just be beating on them. That's something that we should have seen coming. Some of us did, some of us did not. Besides, honestly, your best foes are humans anyway. They go to town and you can't just kill them anymore. You have to fight them. You have to use your head a bit. And honestly, even when I was a kid, the best and most dangerous foes you could face was like the anti-party. When a DM got really tired of you, or when he wanted to really mess with you, he would make a party of adventurers, evil adventurers. Only problem about the party of evil adventurers is they always had the loot, because they would have like magical items, and then you have to worry about as a DM like, how many items am I giving the party by doing this? Oh my god! But I mean, you would actually have like probably the toughest fights that a PCs could have, because you'd have like spellcasters, and you'd have a list of tactics they'd use, and you would have a bunch of you'd have a warrior in the back. They would be organized. They'd be ready for the party. And even if they weren't the same level, they could be a challenge if they prep for it. Actually, I think one of the last encounters in Scourge of the Slave Lords was actually an evil party. The Slave Lords themselves. What a rough. We almost played that one out again, but I think we peeled back because it just wasn't. We weren't. The DM wasn't using the Scourge. She was using the individual modules, so it had less story involved. And I mean, he tried. It was fine. I enjoyed it, but there are points where there are points where he made choices I didn't quite agree with, but I was like, well, yeah, but this is his interpretation, and I don't care. I'm not the one that has to run this thing. This is a lot easier, mine not having to run it. So my level of concern and discussion about this is like gonna be none, because I don't have to run this thing. So yay me! Not having to run is awesome. I may have to run soon though. Not run from here, but just run a game soon. All right. So I do also have a little bit of a copper. I don't know if this black is going to be the final color of the altar. I kind of want it to be, but I also kind of realize it's going to look unfinished, and that's going to be a bit of a pain. Right now I'm just dabbing on some metallics. I'm using what is it? Ancient bronze, I guess. I might highlight it with some gold. They have oopsies. I'll have to go back and fix that. I was trying to avoid hitting the altar with it, but apparently I'm doomed. Yeah, definitely hit the altar. I can take the pewter out for the blade. Yep. There we go. How's that? Not bad. Oh, yeah. He tells stories, too, the nephew. He's good at that. He just tells random stories when he's can be a bit irksome sometimes. I think he gets me more hits on this thing, too. Certainly more hits than me playing video games I'm no good at. Okay, so. Okay, so what I did there is I basically surrounded it with a bit of black, and then I dabbed off the stuff, and the stuff that's closest to the blade will still be there. And it'll hide a bit. The goal is to maybe... Alright. And yeah, I know it's kind of crude to use your fingers to dab paint, but I find nothing, very little is as effective as just getting my fingers dirty. Almost nothing works as well as that. I have like all kinds of tools. Like technically, this is a brush that I'm supposed to be using for highlighting. This thing for highlighting, like just a little bit, but it doesn't. Sometimes nothing works quite as well as doing it and then going back and dabbing it with your finger. I don't have an explanation for why that's the case. You know what your hands do. Does make things messy. You do have to scrub it a bit more when you clean up. There we go. That's not too bad. We do have to do some highlighting on this though to make it look a bit, to make it breathe a bit more. But first off, let's... Oh, you know the sides of it? That's fine. The shadows are fine. I might do some like weird red stuff on that blade after I'm done. I might just leave it for that, like that for now. I suppose another... I don't know. Why don't we do a little, you know, let's add a splash of some color, because that is something that we often miss. We miss out on these opportunities to add like splashes of color when we can. Especially, I'm not sure this is going to stay black. I kind of wanted to do it that way, but I also recognize it's not very exciting to look at when it's like that. Unless, you know, the PC's miniatures are really, really contrasty. I've talked to people when they paint, even in the old days when they'd paint miniatures, that they would take black and use that for like opponents' miniatures, and then they'd base coat the humans, the party of adventurers, in white or in gray to make them brighter and to make them pop more. And I found that interesting. It was an interesting concept. Let me see. I have a shimmery green I can use. There's an emerald green I have on the table. I can find it quick. Sorry about this. Unless anyone has any recommendations. Again, people give me recommendations. I'm a slave to your recommendations sometimes. Alright. There's orc skin. There is a ghosty color. Ooh, mint green. Oh, that's delightful. Delightful. That's the word I'd use. Delightful. Oh, it was hidden in plain sight. Here we go. Got emerald green. I'm gonna pop on some emerald green. I'm gonna mix it with this. Yeah, I'm gonna mix it with this pewter looking stuff. See what we come up with. Because I don't want to... is it 2? Yeah, that'll work. Alright, so... Actually, that might be a bit too light. Yeah, let's just go with the green. Alright. So, I'll just... give it a sinister green kind of look. We'll add to that by so now we've given it a bit of an enchant. They're right there waiting to be used. Yes. Yeah. This knife's gonna be cursed if anybody picks it up. It's gonna have like some crazy ass curse on it. Like, there we go. Yeah, not too bad. Bit of green. I could go back and I have a tiny brush. I do have ruby red on me. And this is another MSP paint that has the label has gotten like some use. It's gotten a little bit of use. So I will In this case, I'm just popping the top off of it because it's easier. I'm not even gonna spell any of it out because I'm planning on doing some quick lettering on this thing. It's gonna be nonsense, so don't try to read it because we're using the 3-foot rule. 3-foot rule says as long as it looks good 3 feet away, it is awesome, and you don't need to worry about it. Yeah, everything on here is just everything is about use. Everything is just about use. So let's put this here, and you're only painting with the tip of the brush. Remember that. You do not have to bring paint all the way up the bristles. As a matter of fact, you don't ever want to do that. I almost don't want to do that, because that green color, right like that, it doesn't look bad, does it? But we're going to just... No, it doesn't actually have to even... It doesn't actually even have to say anything. It could just be the impression of letters. The imagination of letters. If you're really, really crazy talented, you can get weird with that and do a bit more than that, but this is drying too quickly. I have like the tiniest brush, and it's just drying so fast that I can't get like enough of it on it. So we're gonna just, bloody hells. Oopsie. No, that's fine. You're just putting the impression of characters on this. It doesn't have, I mean, if I had a magnifying glass and a lot of patience, I could probably go crazy on this. Actually, I do have a magnifying glass, and I'm still like, yeah. So what I did with this is just give it the impression of maybe having some words on it, some kind of script. It doesn't even, I mean, if I were creative and had something in mind already, I probably would have done that. I'm actually going to grab some of this red, and I'm also going to put just a spot in the pommel right there. I'll paint around it again because it's like an eye. Because I've gotten it a little too deep or too heavily coated or whatever. There we go. Alright, so, yay. You can, I mean... If it's your own character, your own PC, and the mage has got a spell book and you want to write Magic Missile in it, you can do that. If it's like a miniature I'm painting for a table for my friends, I'm like, well, you know, they get the idea and they understand. They get the idea and they understand. Besides, I don't want to be too specific anyway, because what if I want to use it for something else next time? What if I want to say, well, alright, it's the Cult of Bane. Or rather, a cult. It's a cult. This week, it's a cult. I thought that's where those crazy. This is the same altar that those. Nope, totally different altar. But there's a dagger right there. Yeah, it's totally different altar. Shh. Totally different altar. All right. There we go. But yeah, there's a little bit of red on it. Someone could say, oh, is that blood? And I go, yeah, whatever, dude. It's sure, blood. That's fine. Yeah, whatever you say, buddy. Let's see. I do have a gray I could, like, play across it a bit. But I'm not going to. I'm going to grab a red and brown again, and we're going to make some more weirdness. So... Now I want to make it look like there's a stain on it of some kind, like it's been used a bit, because it has. And I'm going to employ a similar color to what I did in those cracks, only a bit more brown and a bit less red, maybe. All right, so I'm not sure if this is going to work, so bear with me on this one. All right, so in this case, we're going to say probably the head of the altar's up here. I'm just going to dab on a bit. The whole point of this is just to make the altar look like it has seen some use. And as you can see, you've now just made it look like someone's actually bled out on it. So it's dark black. It's got the blood effect on it, or a little bit of the dark, like baked in blood. You can trickle it down the sides if you want, Oh my, look at that. No, joking. Huh, look at that. Shit. There we go. I'll have to, somehow I got some red on the bottom of that. Weird. That's okay. My fingers are all smudgy, that's the problem. So, there we go. There. Now it's dark black, and it's got a little bit of shine to it, and it also has what looks like blood, potentially. So that's pretty good, right? Alright, what's next? That's a good question. What is next? There are like a dozen ways to do this piece, by the way. This piece, you can do so many bloody things with this thing. It is pitiful. I could have made this like slate gray. Gray would have been better, because gray, everything would have showed up. I could have just, it would have sung if it was gray. But I didn't have a flat black altar. I have a few other altars laying around, and they're all gray, so I thought, let's do this one a little bit differently, because, you know, reasons. Now we need to have another, okay. So now I want to go around the edges of it, and maybe I've got another yellow here. This one is a different color yellow. It's a brighter yellow. I'm a little leery of it. I still want to try to go for a sand effect around the outside, so I've gone in. We're gonna go, because I think that a proper, if I'm gonna go traditional ghouls, I want said desert sands, or at least, you know, wasteland looking stuff. Sand can look like a lot of things, though. Not all sand has to look like deserts. I mean, if you have like some kind of crazy, like abyssal waste, you could get kind of creative with that and make it look like it's, you know, red. Sands could be red. Sands could be pale white, too. All depends upon the minerals present. The Badlands, I mean, that would be an effect to do. If you ever want to paint like something to make it look like sort of a painted desert, sort of Badlands looking thing, that'd be awesome. The main reason I'm going yellow, and then I'm going to go like lighter than yellow here, is the magical spirit of contrast. I have some kind of white. Hopefully this isn't that silky silver stuff, or Sophie silver, because that will... This is not Sophie silver. I don't know what this is. It's unlabeled. It's kind of a gray. Oh, we should have known about this gray earlier. This would have been good gray stuff to use. I actually have not used much of this, and it's one of those... Reapers sometimes used to, like, you would get... I think they still do once in a great while, but it used to be that, like, sometimes they would have, like, overflows of paint types. Or they were doing some kind of nice promo thing. Like, I have, like, 3... I used to order paint miniatures from them all the time. I still do. So what they would do is sometimes is... a while ago, they'd occasionally put paints in. And one of the ones I had, I ordered like 3 times in 1 month, and I got like 3 bottles of breast cancer awareness pink. And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't use a lot of pink, but I guess I don't have to worry about finding pink now for a while. And I still have some of that paint, and it's quite useful. It's been actually quite useful, and I've not had to buy pink. And pink is actually one of my least favorite colors. I find it kind of nauseating, but there are times for that. And, you know, sometimes you just want, like, well, you know, I'm gonna add some pink to the flesh tones of this character. All right, so there we go. A little bit. It's a little off. It's not. Doesn't quite. I'm not trying to get it to match, but I need it to look cool, and it's missing that cool factor. So I'm going to go one more time over it with just the white and see if I can get like a little bit of that cool factor back. If it doesn't, I have options. I have lots of options. One of the things I've done with sand is I have some ink washes. I have an ochre ink wash. I've got a yellow ink wash. I am not afraid to wash the crap out of this. I have paint washes I can make. Paint washes are actually... I'm going to say that I think paint washes are actually better than ink washes sometimes. Because if you try to use an ink wash, You really got to know what the effect you want, and you got to be willing to just give up and go, well, I'm rolling into it now, or you have to be willing to start over. I don't know. One of those 6 things. Choose one of those things. Now, the problem with making this like a pale yellow is it's going to mess with the bone a bit, because there's a bone right there. I'm afraid that I might do a wash on just so that the bone stands out a bit more. Let's grab bone white, though, which is a creamier color, and then we're going to do up some bones, because there's some bones lying on this thing. Ah, man. I do like terrain. Terrain paints itself sometimes. And I'm not the best painter in the world, by any means. But the nice thing about this is anyone can do this stuff. This is not even that hard. I'm not an artist. I have been painting for a while, but, you know, all of my friends are technically better at this than I am. Like, almost all of them are better at it than I am. But they have not been practicing as much, so I am honing my skills. Now I'm trying to remember that speech from Apocalypse Now. Every time they go home and watch videos, Saigon, I'm in Saigon again. They go home and watch videos, well, every day Ken is on Twitch painting. He gets a little stronger, and every day I'm sitting around watching Friends reruns on Netflix or something. I get a little weaker. No, I'm kidding. Nothing against Friends reruns, except I hate Friends. That show's terrible. No, you can like it. It's fine. We all like different things. We all have different... if I weren't Twitch streaming while painting, I would be watching MST3K reruns and old episodes of Dead Malls on YouTube. And that's only because my niece got me into Dead Malls. I blame her, but it is a great show. It's a weird show, man. I'd be watching like Atop the Fourth Wall or some kind of comic book show. That'd be great. Linkara is a local, so gotta represent and support. Though I've also watched Comic Book Girl 19. She's good. I like comic books sometimes. I have to keep up somehow with the comic book universe. Alright, so, these bones I'm painting a bit more bright than they ought to be. Ordinarily, I would layer them a bit more. In this case, they're really bold. I might have to yellow them somehow. I'm not sure how. Yeah, I'm kind of boning the bones right now. They're really, really... I'm making them way too bright, but what are you going to do? I'll yellow them up later or chill them out a bit. The whole point to these is to make, again, contrast. This is way too bright. This is way too bright. I should have just painted them bright yellow and then used the white as a highlight. But the nice thing about this is I can shift it back. You're not supposed to usually paint dark over light. You always paint light over dark if you can help it, especially when you're just starting out and you want like to immediately have it look like what you want it to look like. Oh no, no. Okay. I made a mistake. Oh, what are we going to do? Got some white on the altar in a spot we didn't want it. We take out the Fanta Black and make it darker than dark. Just the darkest. There we go. There we go. Alright. So, yeah, we're right now... And one of the reasons I went crazy with the white was because of the sand that was yellow. And I needed to make it look a bit more poppy. So people could see it standing out. The problem with that, though, is it's buried some of the detail of the bones. Someone wants a great deal to make this mini, and they did such a good job in depicting bones on the altar, and then I basically obviate all the details on them and just make them white sticks that, you know... That's kind of a problem on me, though, because I did a meh job of working them up. There we go. That's not too bad, though, right? Don't worry, we'll make the skull look better. We'll make up for it with the skull. Alright, so with the skull, we'll use a slightly bigger brush. And we'll come back and do the... I have a friend that we watched the movie Network last night. I've seen it before. It's the old 70s flick. Really good. I almost went on channel and was going to stream everybody commenting on it, but I thought, well, that's a bit off-brand. Huh. So, do I make the eyes glow or not on the skull? Options. I could put red embers in the eyes. I could, or green. Huh? Anybody? No? Okay. So, as you can see, we've got like a nice little green knife with the letters. We've got kind of a blood stain on the surface of it. We've got this skull that we're working up. And the bones. Roll the bones, as they say. Like the Rush song, you know? No. That's a terrible song. What's his name? Getty? What was his name? Really, just a voice from a squealy voice. Very green. Done. All I get to say is yes, and I'm in. I'm all in. I'm gonna pop in some green into those eyes. I could just leave them dark. No, we're gonna do something crazy. First, I am going to put like a dark green in the eye socket. Then I'm going to dab it with with increasingly lighter greens, and I might end it with like just a tip of just a bit of a very pale green. So first step, look at those eyes. And you know what you do? The skull becomes a magical item or something creepy like that. And you go, well, yeah, So I put some dark green in there first. While we're waiting for that to dry, let's do some more of the skull up. And then we'll pop back and finish it a bit. So let's see. Alright. I'm using a really small brush for this, by the way. This is normally smaller than what I would work with, but the details are really fine. And the miniature is very close to the stone, and I'm trying really hard not to have to retread too much ground. So, this will, of course, mean that I'll have to replace these brushes faster than I'd intended, but meh. Buying a couple brushes every couple weeks is not a big deal. It's going to happen. That's one of the reasons a friend of mine suggests always go cheap on brushes. I would say always go sort of cheap on brushes. Don't buy the craziest, most expensive brushes you can find. Definitely. I mean, you don't have to buy the cheapest, but definitely don't spend too much money on brushes. If you spend more than $2 on a brush, you may be disappointed in how much you end up spending. Because if you do a lot of painting, you may go through a brush in about 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And if you have a lot of brushes, they'll last you longer. But how much have you actually spent? Because I'll go back and do the underside of the skull in yellow or something. I don't have to, though. I could just leave it. I mean, people aren't going to lift the miniature upset and go, well, wait a minute. The underside of the skull it looks like it's been poorly highlit. Looks like you have not differentiated the lighting effect at all on the skull. And then I will pick up the miniature and throw it at their face and say, you paint a miniature. Go on, because I invite them over all the time. My Friday night regulars or irregulars, they're set on playing nothing but 5e right now, which is fine. I like 5e better than Pathfinder personally. It feels more like D&D to me. Pathfinder feels like, I don't know, some other game. So green's good. Alright. We're going to grab this metallic green. Actually, glow-in-the-dark green? Well, it's not quite glow-in-the-dark. I'll put a spot of metallic green and then I'll go to this yellow green. Alright. Let's go in there. Sparkling. All right. All right. Let's. Sorry. No. To do manual adjustment on these because otherwise my camera tries to learn to read, and then I yell at it going, "Who taught you to do that?" And it goes, "Well, autofocus taught me to do that," and you can't stop me from trying. And that's the problem with us using webcams for this stuff to show how you're doing. Is you're gonna get miniatures that you're not gonna it's gonna autofocus down all the time, and you're just gonna go mad. I actually have to buy my next big purchase is actually better cameras. Is actually having some better cameras to show off what I'm doing. My colleague who is not here that sometimes paints with me occasionally, he has his own technique, which is basically have the camera far away and then do whatever the hell he wants and not care whether or not people see it or not. No, I'm joking. He's actually. So, like, actually, you know what? I think 2 weeks from tomorrow, I'm gonna actually stream some content about the movie Frenzy, the Hitchcock movie. Me and some friends will watch it, and I will try to get them all on board to streaming their commentary, which is fine. It's just that only one of us is an expert on Hitchcock movies, and it ain't me. It's not me. And Frenzy, I think, is I can't remember where in the pantheon of Hitchcock movies Frenzy sits, but it's definitely not The Birds. I wanted to watch The Birds, and they're like, no, we can't watch The Birds. Everybody's seen The Birds. I'm like, people have not all seen The Birds, and The Birds is the silliest of those movies. I love it. It's a little bit kooky and wrong. Okay, so I'm putting a bit of this really light yellow. Oh no, 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 oh no, gods, no, that's too much. Alright. Get out of there. Alright, now I've got... How do I get... So I just kind of used a corner of a Kleenex to draw some of it out before it got too... This is really watery. I'm going to... Let's seal it up. I'm going to shake the hell out of this. That sounds really gross. This time for sure. Yeah, that's a bit better. Nowhere near as thin. I need it to be a bit... It has to have a bit more consistency so that I can drop it in. I can drop it in like a very, very precision munition or something. Oh, there's an analogy everybody wants to hear. Did it again. Okay, we're gonna pull it out differently this time. That's way too much. We're gonna pull it out with a brush. As you can see, it went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs because it was still too thin. I'm gonna just put the brush in. I'm gonna dry off the brush and pull it out. There we go. There. That's not too bad. Now we'll grab some black and I'm gonna ring around the inside a little bit to hide my shame at getting this wrong, and then I will paint white over it. So we'll just go around the inside of the, just a bit around the inside. There we go. Alright. To hide my shame, I paint more skulls. There we go. Not too bad. There. That'll work. And then I will paint. We'll go back and hit the skull with some white around the outside. And no one will be the wiser except for you. You're not talking, are you? So, yeah, we went with green for the skull. I should be working on the lasher, but I'm going to wait until... What is Wednesday? What is my theme for Wednesday? It's usually whatever I want Wednesday, but, yeah. Who can say? So this is coming along. As you can see, we've got like the, there's a bit of a bone on the side too. I've got a bone to pick with you. Oh, God. You guys should all unfollow just for that crappy pun. By the way, puns are the worst. No, I'm kidding. I have friends that are crazy about puns. Oh, I lost somebody already for puns. I'm leaving you for puns. Your puns are terrible. I'm leaving you. I don't want to see you again. Stay off the internet. Alright, so, let me see. So, I've got a collection of smaller stones around this thing. And I do not know what color to paint them all. Some of them should probably be black. Because, you know, there's crumbled pieces of this, there are going to be crumbled pieces of this thing. But I don't know what other colors to use. I could use a red color, but I don't want to steal from the idea that there are seams of dried blood running down the sides of this. So there we go. I could just dab them, drop paint and dab, like that one right there. Got some on the sand, that's okay. We can work around that. There we go. There we go. Any ideas about the rocks around here? Anybody got any recommendations, desires? Tragic rock affairs. And then the real question is going to be how to paint some of these other things, because I also I have two more pieces of major of major stuff to go with, and I don't know, but I feel like some of these should probably be very similar. Is it on top? No. Where's this go? That's kind of interesting. It looks like the altar is here. And then there's some kind of stone. I mean, this can be arranged any way you want, really. But, I don't know how I'm going to paint the rest of it. I should probably paint it as a set, so it looks like it goes together. I'm not sure. Alright. So, we're already into our second. Right. I think this is just a straight up red. I'm going to grab a rock here, and I think I'm going to paint this one a bit red. There we go. Just a little bit red there. Maybe this one could be a bit red too. Stones can look like a lot of things. Oh, gray stone would be a good idea. Good idea. Good idea, person who didn't actually say that. A gray stone's a great idea. No, actually I'm going to do a blue-black kind of thing. I'm going to do blue with maybe a touch of something. Actually blue and then maybe some gray. This one's a bit, this is a metallic blue though. This is going to look kind of funky. That's okay. Alright. So, yeah, you kind of, I mean, you're always torn between being really, really appropriate and showing a variety of color to try to communicate something. And it really depends upon what you're working with. Sometimes you want, like, I mean, you have to have the darkness since you're dealing with, like, this kind of subject matter. So having a gray, a slate gray, or a pitch black altar really is evocative. Actually, I don't mind that at all. The more I look at this thing, the more I'm glad I painted it black. I was actually kind of on the fence on that. And now I'm like, no, that doesn't look horrible. It looks alright. Let's see what else we got here. Sophie Silver. No, we're not using Sophie Silver. Not for this. Moldy skin. Let's grab some moldy skin. Because that's a green kind of... I mean, sometimes you never use the colors for what they say on the bottle anyway. I mean, sometimes you do. I mean, the funny thing is, you sometimes do, but like, you have like orc skin. You don't just make something orc. You don't just paint orc skin. You go troll skin. Then you add like some orc skin, and then you highlight with like a different color maybe. There we go. And I'll just pick out a few other rocks here to. There we go. I should have used this for this sand, this moldy skin. Could have been a moldy skin desert. Moldy skin city. Am I the only one that's really anxious about Letterkenny coming back on again? God, I love that show. And it's not just because I live in Minnesota and I'm really close. I feel close to Canada in some way. No, I just love that show. It's great. Plus, you know, up north in the sticks, we did chores, but of course, a bit different when I was a kid than that. No one was that clever. That's the disappointing thing is nobody was this clever as that. Most people were kind of blorgs. They're kind of idiots, myself included, obviously. I'd never exclude myself from being an idiot because I am chief of the idiots. I do all the dumb. Did all the dumb. Not all of it actually, but you know, a lot of it. Lots of bad choices. Nothing wrong with that though. Live and learn. Hopefully you live and learn. That's the goal, is to live and then do the learning part. Oh, okay. So I'm not actually going to go all in on painting any of these stones any particular color. I'm just like trying to hit a few of them with a dash of color here and there. Just so that people get the idea that there's a color of a rock here and there. We don't have to get, you know, perfect with any of this. This is, and sometimes you can just mix a bunch of crap together and call it a color. Like I just made this weird fleshy color. I want to make one of these rocks this weird fleshy color because, you know, that's too pink. Alright, so you know when I said we could just mix and match whatever we want? A total lie. Complete fabrication. Can't do it. We're going to fix that rock. Because that little rock just do the whole thing. Pink rock indeed. There we go. Oh. So, yeah, I mean we're cruising here. It's just the first of many bits. Boop, 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 boop. All right. Not bad. Could use some highlighting here and there, especially on the sides. I could do a bit of a gray or something, maybe. I'm just trying to think. Man, I don't know. Oh, there's one spot I do have to hit, no matter what. I can't avoid that. Okay. Oop-a-doop-a-doo. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, I think if you look back a few weeks, you'll find that I was painting I'm painting things. I had a friend show me, send me some 3D printed stuff, and there was a mimic idea that I actually turned out fairly okay. Remarkable, really, considering it was done in materials. There we go. All right, so for now, I think, unless someone has some specific stone requests, I'm going to leave this thing as is for the moment. I may come back and do a little bit more detail work, but this you could put on the table and everyone would go, yeah, that's a thing. Look at that crazy knife. Look at the bones on it. It's set. You could set this down. It's ready to go. You might want to spray something on it. You know, if you really want to get sick with it, You could also take some... This is if you want to make it look like freshly used, like yesterday, or like the This is the third person that the guy. This tied up guy is the third person that's going to be hanging out on the altar. You could take some clear tar gel, mix it with a bit of red, brighter red, and dribble wood around, and you could have like blood. You could do blood on the thing, like actual blood, if you wanted to go crazy. You don't have to do that. I wouldn't even recommend doing it. It's a nice grotesque detail, but why? So, let me get this puppy. Let's see now. Now my desire would be to do the same thing with this, is to go black. Does anyone have another idea about what we should do? Because we could go completely different. We could make this like a sandstone plinth. This could be red. This could be a red stone. I have colors for that. I have some colors I can work in. I would go black first and then go red. So if you want, you could go red and black, and then this last part. They could match, or they could clash, or we could just mix and match a bit. This is going to be the most ambitious one because it's going to... I might just make this gray, but this could also be black stone. Any ideas? Any desires? I'm easy. Come here. I have these sexy dice, and since no one has spoken up, if anyone has there's no color choices, I will roll randomly. It won't be completely randomly because I should favor black to make it match. So I've got this nice new shiny metal die. Look at that bloody thing. I know, as am I. I can't tell. I cannot tell you. I am not hurt no matter what happens because I'll be buying a second one. How about shown with... Oh, out of this thing? Or out of the main... out of this puppy here? Because what we did with the cracks on this one is I added some dark red to make it look... Some dark red and brown to make it look like... I could get the cracks to show a bit more on this one. So this one you think, yeah, we got a goat's head on it too, which is nice. The new thing. Yeah, we could have some energy coming out of the cracks. But what should the base color be, you think? It does have a creepy skull. It actually has a goat's head that looks like it's very carefully prepared and preserved. That's a bloody goat's head. I'm going to put a blood effect coming down off this. This is going to have an actual blood coming off of it. Because I'm going to do that. So, base color though. I've got this nice shiny dice. I'm going to say dark black or gray maybe. Done. We'll start at black. Oh god, yeah. Oh hell yeah. Yes, definitely glowing eyes. And the goat skull, I'm 100% on that. That is going to happen. I have this nice little roll-up dice thing for my... metal dice because my friends all have tables. Yeah. Oh yeah, it will. We will make the eyes on this thing probably glow green or bright yellow or red. But first, let's get the base coat on this thing first, and we'll go dark black first. I do have black 3 I could always use. Ooh. But we're probably going to stick to colors that are easier to attain. Black 3 is for something else. I don't know what yet, but I will be using that on something. What do I got for my... Where's my main paintbrush? Did I wash... I just washed that thing. Oh, where are you, paintbrush? I hope I didn't drop you on my lap. That'd be embarrassing. Well... Okay, where are you, backup paintbrush? Actually, I think I moved some things. There you are. I moved some things around and it got kind of lost. Le Tiger GS. Sandstone goes well into the blood of... You think sandstone? Well, let's start with black and maybe we'll go to sandstone. That way it'll have the right... Actually, if I'm going to go sandstone, I'd almost rather base coat it brown. So we'll go 1, 2, or 3 dark black. 4, 5, or 6 a sandstone kind of thing. Dark black, and then we'll go from there. We may still go sandstone. I can't guarantee we won't. But we're gonna start dark black, and we'll work from there. So we always want to base coat these anyway. So even if we do go sandstone, we still want to have a nice undercoat that's dark. If I go sandstone, I might go brown and black brown, and then just dry brush it up from there. All right, so the goat's head we're going to base coat it a bit differently because I want it to pop out. And sometimes the way you make things pop is by base coating them differently. Instead of base coating them the same, we're going to base coat it differently. I know that can sometimes confuse shadows a bit, but if you, unless you're doing dioramas, you don't have to worry as much, because the confused shadows won't show very well. Our rule is 3 feet away. If it looks really cool and eerie 3 feet away, we win. That's how we win as DMs and painters. Tabletop painters, not like dioramas painters. If you're looking for diorama painting, that's a completely different ballpark. Many of the techniques we use could possibly be used that way. I'm just not skilled enough to do that kind of thing, so at least not yet. I suppose I could work my way up to that. But there are some people that do some wild stuff, and it's insane. We're talking people that are actual artists. I have a friend that could do that He is actually considering changing his technique and doing things a bit more slowly and carefully and doing a better job. And I am asking him, buddy, you gonna put those miniatures on the table after you paint them? Because if you are, you're gonna be sad. You're gonna be sad because some of them are gonna get dinged. Oops, got some black in his horns. That's okay. Okay, so right now what I'm doing is I'm just getting the dark coat on first. I don't know if we'll get through all this tonight. We did get the altar done, which is pretty impressive. I would put that online, but I have some, I have some family some distant relatives that were around in the '80s and probably still have a raging case of a satanic panic. No, they don't. But why encourage it? Why recommend it by putting something so absurd on the interwebs right away? Maybe I'll post it to the Reaper Paint My Bones website. I look at that website, Paint My Bones, and all I can think of is an episode of The Simpsons where this like weird crazy guy gets into a fight with Krusty the Clown, but not having painted his fence. I paid you a plate of Pliskins to paint my fence. Those Pliskins were terrible. Paint my fence. No. And then that's back and forth. That's the game. Yeah. Let's see. So the surrounding rocks. We could make those black too, I suppose. They might end up being a different color. Oh, the cracks. You're right. Cracks of energy on the base of it. That'll be the... We're gonna... Oh, shoot. How to do this. What is the best way to do this? The best way to do this for me right now, at this moment... Yeah, energy. Yes. We want energy up from those cracks. So... I'm going to cheat a bit, and we'll see how this works. It may not look really great, but I'm going to go with green energy. And then we will paint, don't worry, we'll paint the stones themselves, either gray or black, but I want to get the cracks of this thing. It doesn't matter. So I'm just going to paint the thing green, and then I'm going to dry brush black over the stones. But the main goal is going to be to get green in between the cracks, so... I don't have to actually get all the stones. The main goal is to get the green into the cracks. So I'm using, energy. From like this is the sacrificial table's fine. That's where all the blood goes. This is going to be like where all the evil, crazy, fell, shitty World of Warcraft energy is. Because in World of Warcraft, all the bad energy is weird, bright green, like comic book radiation or something. It's weird. Like they talk, I think Warcraft, it's all fell energy or something. And if you, I don't know, it's like ghost spirit crazy energy. I don't know. World of Warcraft's a game I fell asleep to, and that all my Friday night gamers would complain at me about. Like, it's, dude, we're going raiding again, and you fell asleep at the keyboard. I wish I was Leroy Jenkins. I was not. I was a person that would sit around, and they'd say, we're going to do dungeons. We're going to do dungeons. I'm like, all right, we're going to play D&D. No, we're going to play World of Warcraft. And then I'd fall asleep at the table. All right. I would just walk off a cliff, Oculus or whatever the hell crazy-ass dungeon they wanted to go into. I'd go, oh, this is boring. I would walk right off the cliffs. I would walk all the way off the cliffs. Not just once either. It happened more than once. So it's like, where'd Ken go? Did he fall asleep again? And then I get yelled at and be like, I can hear you. Sorry. Are we doing this thing yet? No, we're talking about doing it, and I've got to wait for we gotta wait for this guy to show up, and now you have to walk all the way back in, and all the way up here. Can you just summon me? No. Those were the days, yes. Oh, God. I did not have time for... It was just so frustrating. I was like, oh, God, why? Oh, yeah. So, let's see. Alright. So, we've got the green in there now. I could do a little bit more of that. I could mix some yellow with the green if we really want to go crazy. I could do that. Let's grab a little yellow, maybe. Yeah. So we're gonna maybe just add a smidge of yellow. If I had it, I've actually ordered I'm trying to use all MSP paints because I'm doing Reaper minis. And like I said before, they were kind enough to do a raid on my channel once. So I thought, well, let's be good patrons and keep using their paints. Maybe I'll order more of their paint too. Be the right thing to do, right? I think it'd be right. Or they could send me paint. No, I'm kidding. They don't have to do that. They don't have to do that at all. They do not have to do that. I love their products. I do also paint other kinds of miniatures, but I find some of them, like Nolzur's, is great detail on them, but Jesus Christ, they were not designed by painters. Oh my God. So I'm going back in and I'm just doing a little bit of I'm just kicking up the green just a bit with a little bit of a green and mixed with yellow, because I think that it'll add to it, maybe. And I could be wrong about this. This could all go backwards and look really stupid, but... I could have also done this as a wash, but lighter colored washes are weird. Usually when you do a wash, you're going to go like a dark. And if I accidentally cover up too much with the subsequent layers, I will try to do a wash, but it'll be very careful. So... yeah, there's definitely some, like, really crazy, like, sci-fi horror movie shit going on in here. I'm trying to remember, there's a movie from the 80s called, I don't know, it was this weird thing that took place in a small town with this temple that had, like, some beast trapped inside. And they were, like, I don't know. It was just like crazy. There was Nazis and stuff. It was awful. Okay, there we go. So what we've done is I put some green into all the cracks. As you can see, doesn't look too bad right now. Now I have to somehow paint the bricks. Oh, been using some of the new Reaper paints that were part of the... oh yeah, Cyberpunk themed. I want to order some of this. I'll have to paint with you someday, though I'm not up set for streaming yet. Oh yeah, please tell me if anyone wants to do that at some point in time. I can... we can definitely set up some kind of thing. I do have a channel. I do have a channel and I got to get my second monitor back up, and then I could that can definitely happen. I have no problem doing that because I always like having guests. Guests are fun. So the stones below. I am going to. What do you think? Gray for these stones below. They're already. I think we need a darker color for the stones below too to get the contrast across. But we're going to start again, I think, with black. Since we started black, we're going to keep working black, and we're going to try to be very careful with it because I don't want to accidentally cover up anything I've done. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just taking some of the black, especially in the grayer areas. I'm hitting it a bit more. And then, like, if I screw it up, I'll do a wash to work it in. Yeah, gray? You could go gray. Well, let's go black first, and then we'll switch. What we'll do with those is we will go back, and I will dry brush it gray after I get it black. And this is some fun stuff. We're gonna. I might dry brush the other part gray too, or we might go with sandstone with that for the desert. We're still not sure about that. These stones, though, I think are going to be dark gray. We don't want to go too. We don't want to lose with we don't want to lose the stuff we've gained. So we're going to go black, and then we're probably going to gray that. There we go. So part of the point of this whole thing is to get this. Oopsie, we might have gone a bit too crazy with the black on those brush strokes. I don't think the nephew's going to come down for a visit today. I think he's out. He is either in the mood to paint or he is not. And usually he's just in the mood to come down and do story time or something like, I'm going to tell a story about a bad dog that cuts holes in the table to steal all the food on the table, and then what is it? His dog stories. Yep, not too exactly. We want the contrast of the crack. I'll take a smaller brush to make it to narrow the cracks a bit, and then the areas closer to the yellow stuff, the green yellow, will get more. Will get darker, and the areas further we will do contrast play. And I may have to go back in and fix things because I might get. I do tend to get a little bit messy sometimes. I get a little sloppy, and then I have to go in and detail correct. But that's okay. Just like you go from inside out when you're painting, which is why we did the cracks first in this case, you also go from big to small. Go from big to small. Go from inside out and big to small. Never do it. That's why that technique that's very popular right now with eyes is big to small. They do big like splotches of white paint around the eyes, and it covers the entire thing. And then you paint the eye and the pupil, and then you paint back around the eye slowly, adding back the flesh around the eye as you do it. There's a bit more to it than that. I'm not an expert on it by any stretch of the imagination, but it does work. It's a technique that works. And there's someone that actually there's a video on that actually. I should link to it. I should actually try practicing it a bit more because eyes and I have never got along. I and I have never gotten along. I don't get along with eyes. It took a long time, and I still bone them occasionally. I have to go back and forth. So you never unless you're like really careful, you're always going to make some mistakes. And then it's just a matter of going back and fixing it. Yeah, you can see this brush is kind of had it, but we're still gonna try using it because using imperfect brushes allows us to make all kinds of fun mistakes. Mistakes can be fun too. You make a mistake sometimes, and sometimes the mistakes make the mini. It's like what is it called? There's a Japanese art of, there's a few things. It's a concept in art where man, there are so many ways of expressing this because there's a lot of cultures that do this. I retouch all the time, especially the eyes. Oh God, yeah, it cannot be helped. It just can't. In Sufism, there's painting. So not all schools of Islam are against graven images completely. The Sufis do use painting and images, but they intentionally put in flaws, which is so fun because it's so kind of egocentric, but it's still so funny and cool. In Japan, there's a humility in Buddhism that suggests that making something imperfect or wrong is helpful. Making something that's got some imperfections in it. And in fact, breaking things and then using gold to blend it together, putting gold into the cracks of something as they reseal it is a way of expressing that an object is loved and used. And it expresses so many things, which is really interesting because if you watch Loki, spoilers, if you watch Loki, and that's as far as I'll go, watch the end of Loki, the last episode. It's cool as hell. And somebody actually, sometimes, like, there are some ideas that are just around all the time. And that is like one of the ideas that's been around all over the place. Is this concept of loving care, which begs the question about the Mr. The Conqueror. Mr. the Conqueror. All right, so I'm going to make these I'm going to go a little tighter to it because we don't. These cracks are cracks and not the stone itself. And right now, the way it's set up, it looks like it's the stone itself. But the point of these cracks is that they're cracks and they're uneven. The one that remains. Yes, the one that remains. Yeah. Yes. That's the name he goes by. If you're a comic book freak, you know who that guy is. And he does such a good job. I can't wait to see more. What? See more? Well, yeah, he already said. It's going to be a bunch more of me. See you soon. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I do like my comic book movies. It's one of my and I'm usually a Marvel guy, but I have to confess I did watch the Suicide Squad and I enjoyed it. They got James Gunn went crazy to get good actors for it. Had a decent script. The movie was like way better than the first Suicide Squad by like leaps and bounds. I don't even know what the first David Ayer's his cop movie. I mean, I guess Studio Notes killed that thing, didn't it? Thank you. I know. Thank you very much. I am liking that as well. Hey, you guys are the ones that gave me the idea, so thank yourselves for this one. Thank you all for this idea because this is the coolest idea. But you're covering it ago now. Oh well, I'm trying to. Okay, maybe I'll not cover all of it. It's just that some of it is okay. All right. Well, I'll try to chill out on covering it too much. I'm trying to get the cracks to be a bit more distinct by darkening it right around the edge of it. But you might have a point. Maybe I should not go so deep onto covering it. Yeah, see? You think I'm covering too much of it? That is a possibility. Should I have left more of it showing? The thing is, Alright, I might be maybe I'm making it look too even. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe making it too even is wrong. I just heard a buzz. Oh, yeah, there's a way. There's a way I can add to it. I can make it look more liquid, which will give it a bit more of an energy thing. I do have a glow-in-the-dark paint that's coming soon. Unless I already have it. Yeah. We might be able to do something. Alright. So, right. So that's not too bad. What we have here, it does kind of glow a little bit. I could line it with something brighter. I could line it with a yellow.